Sie hören Sport und Musik.
Das Spiel ist aus! Deutschland ist Weltmeister!
In a world where fans fight over whether to call it football, or soccer, two German men defy the odds and call it Fußball. Bringing you inside the German-American football experience. And now, here are your hosts, the Schnitzel Boys.
Yippee. Happy Halloween!
Ja! Spooky!
Herzlicher Halloween!
Herzlicher Halloween! Yeah. Halloween is now a thing in Germany.
It's weird. Do they do trick-or-treating?
I think they do now. Yeah, this wasn't when I was a kid, but now it's a thing.
Right.
But I don't know. Herzliches, I don't know what they say.
I
Herzliches
think they just
Halloween.
say Happy Halloween. They just have no problem taking American
Just taking
things.
the American thing. Yeah. Well, happy Halloween to you, Stefan. How are you?
Happy Halloween to you, Bjorn. I'm okay. I'm doing okay. How are you, man?
Well, I'm, we'll talk in the second hour about how I am. But
Once again, we're the new
I'm
Schnitzel
good.
Boys
I'm
format.
good. Other than Fußball wise, I'm good.
Yeah, talk to me about your Halloween play. Your kids are too old for Halloween now? or what
No,
they costume?
they are very much into it, but they certainly no longer require or even welcome my participation. So, so while I used to shepherd them around with the many other dads in Carroll Gardens who would like put just put like some kind of weird hat on or whatever. They're like I'm just here so I don't get fined kind of Halloween costume. like I have to take my kids, but that I no longer do. They go out on their own, and I get to do a podcast about soccer.
Nice.
Fußball.
Fußball. So they're at a Halloween party right now?
I think my daughter just returned home. She was out and about trick-or-treating with her friends. My son is still out. I don't know where he is. He's roaming the streets. I'm not sure.
It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are?
Well, it's 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah.
So
Do
they're
you remember
still
those old
within.
ads?
Yeah. It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children
Your
are?
kids
Yeah.
are? There's this great Simpsons moment where he's like, just like I told you the last 3 times. No. That's the episode when Bart worked at that burlesque house. For the Simpsons heads out there. But today is a very, very special Halloween for me. You know what's funny? Now that we've done this new format, or we've split Germany and America talk and do separate podcasts, I don't know where I'm supposed to put in my funny random banter. I mean, I guess
Everywhere.
now-
What do you mean? What do you like? That goes all over the place.
Well, okay, fine. Then I'll share. I got big news. I got big news for you and our listening audience and our viewers at home. I've got really big plans for tonight, Bjorn. You know what I have planned for tonight?
What are you doing?
Tonight, I'm planning on winning the lottery. Big plans. I bought myself a lottery ticket. The American Powerball, which is the national lottery, is worth over $1 billion right now.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So if I were to win, I would get after taxes around $500 million. And I plan on winning that money tonight.
Tonight?
So my big
Okay.
plans. My big plans. Speaking
So,
of big
how
plans,
do you? What is your? How do you go about that?
well, I bought a lottery ticket at 7-Eleven. I actually bought 10 lottery tickets at 7-Eleven because the more the merrier. And I willed it. I talked to the higher powers that be. I told them that I deserve this.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, really want that money so I can fly private sky suites in the sky and drive all over the world and offer the right podcast that the people deserve, like Michael, not Mike 805, who in the comments, hello, Michael, the comment says, Los geht's, SG Deutschland. Is that SG Freiburg? What is SG? SG is Freiburg, right?
Kleeblatt? Yeah, probably.
No.
We'll
SG
find out. Good.
Sport
I used to go to college in Bochum, so when I hear SG, I think SG Wattenscheid 09.
Oh, maybe that's what that is. FYI, I am the guy.
He is the guy who waves the German flag. I was just wondering about that again.
I asked, I messaged you, and you showed up. Thank you so much. I saw you. You were right. You were on
Welcome.
the Welcome, Michael. Please. We wanted you on the podcast. We'll try to get you because I want to hear your story. SG Supporter Group Luckies. Got it. Got it. Excellent. Do you go by Michael or Michael? How German are you? Are you off the boat, or are you like me? Are you Bjorn? Are you off the boat like Bjorn, or are you descendant like Stefan? We're both. So, Michael, thanks for joining us on the pod. And we're going to talk Germany in this first hour. Then we're going to talk LAFC in hour 2. I actually was going to save those announcements for later, but just this morning I secured my ticket for the MLS
Oh, very
Cup
good,
final.
very good.
So I will be there in person, Michael, and I'll see you there. We should meet up beforehand or afterwards.
Excellent. I will not. I won't be coming. But yeah, that's for later. That's for later.
Later. We do a little Germany hour. Then we do an American hour. You were born in Germany, left when you were 4. Where in Germany were you born?
So Michael.
Yeah, but I don't know, Michael. Like, yeah, but
Oder Mischa. In my im Ruhrgebiet, my area, if somebody's named Michael, we call him Mischa, not Mike. We don't call people Mike. We call him Mischa.
Yeah, when you go to America, you become Mike.
Right.
My
and
name
not everybody. I mean, in America, everybody just, like I have a friend whose name is David Wilson, and people call him Dave. He does not like that.
Right.
It's like, my name is, but it's unavoidable. People just call him Dave.
Yeah, there was a guy I knew in college. He had a name, kind of a longer name. I want to say it was Stewart, or longer than Stewart. Not Nedinsky, but like some really annoying long name. Let's pretend it was Stewart. It was something longer than that. And I said, "Hi, Stu," and he goes, "It's Stewart. You want to be called Stewart?" It's like Stu's a cooler name. I don't know why you want to be called Stewart, but
it's
more
not
power
for you,
to you, man.
But it's not for you to decide what the cooler name is.
Some people call me Steffi a lot.
Steffi! I'm gonna definitely start that now.
I should have brought that up.
Steffi!
And then I had a lady where I used to live in upstate New York. The older I lived underneath her. She was like, "Hey, Stevie." Called me Stevie. Stefan was just German for Steve, so she called me Stevie. Mm-hmm. And that's like such a big no-no to me. I hate that name. Steve? No
Steve?
Thanks. Stefan.
Well,
baby.
that's a big. Well, also you say Stefan, but in German you would probably emphasize the first syllable. You'd say Stefan.
Yeah, Stefan. So how would you? I think if you Americanize it, it's Stefan, right? Because
I don't know.
They say Stefan a lot, and to me, Stefan is more reminiscent than Stefan. You know what I mean? Am I wrong to think that? I just always say, "Oh, it's Stefan." That's what I tell people.
It's your name. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, if I met you in Germany, I would say Stefan.
All right, we got Matsch, Rheinland-Pfalz. Mom was born in Altenkirchen in the Westerwald. I think that's not too far from.
Oh, du schöner Westerwald. That was like a song they would play at weddings in my childhood.
Okay, so in Western Germany here, right near. I like that area. I was just there in my last, because I was in Bingham in May when I went to Germany last, and that's right in that sort of state, in that area, right on the Rhine. Very cool. Altenkirchen. Altenkirchen's up north here. Like, it's like, what is it, an hour and a half southeast of Cologne? What's the nearer? Altenkirchen. I wonder if that's where my cousin is from, because she lives.
Of course.
Probably
Of
because everyone's
course.
related to me.
Of course, you have a relative in the. Yeah, this is
They're
if
called-
you are.
They're
you are
called.
new, if you are new to the podcast, we have this 6 degrees of Stefan Schnitzel. He knows he has relatives in every town in the land.
Well, my family from Germany just visited me, and Köln is just what we say, but they're actually from a half an hour outside of Köln. So I wonder if it is in that area. But there's only one way to find out: going there. Anyway, Koblenz is the nearest big city.
Koblenz, yeah.
I've
been to Koblenz.
I was in Koblenz in May. I did this the tile. What's it called? Teilbahn, the sky train. You go over the Deutsches Ecke, where you have Otto von Bismarck, the German Thomas Jefferson statue there. I was just there in May. It's a lovely, lovely city.
It really is
river.
nice. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, there's a nice river between Mainz and Koblenz.
And we don't say that about all German cities.
No. I'm a big follower of German in Venice, which is this YouTube channel of this German dude. And he went back to where he's from. I remember I texted you. He's from Krefeld, Ruhrgebiet. And then he's like, my city's dying, and it's long dead. It was like a very depressing.
Krefeld is not that nice. Not as nice as Koblenz.
No, Krefeld not nice. A lot of parts of the Ruhrgebiet have seen better days. I mean, that's just the reality of the Ruhrgebiet. The German Rust Belt. Anywho, Michael, thank you very much. We also have other viewers. Please talk in. I've been a Bayern fan since '72, and my uncle took me to the first game. Mia. I'm also a Bayern München fan. I watch Bayern München games at the House of Football sometimes. You ever make your way out there to the House of Football, Michael? Because if you do, we should run into each other. I think Michael and me are becoming best friends here. I don't know, Bjorn. But
I think maybe, maybe you're pushing. You just saying that may have not helped that process. I guess.
Yeah, you're right.
Is what I'm trying to say.
I come on too strong. My therapist says I come on too strong sometimes. Hey, you and I are best friends. Do I live at your house now?
What about you're gonna leave Chicharito?
Chicha keep sleeping. He's sleeping.
He's resting.
He's sleeping. Carlos Vela is getting ready. Michael, you're going to be there on Saturday, right? Probably hauling that flag. Do you have plans?
So what is it? So what is it with the flag? And
the German flag was missing
the
last
German.
week. Yeah.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't yesterday. I saw it yesterday.
Correct, but it was missing against.
Okay.
Who they played before Austin? I was missing against the Galaxy, right? Because I was at that game. I went to Old Trafford, and I didn't see a German flag. I was looking for. I look for it every game.
Well,
not to say you weren't there.
Let us know what is the.
Yeah, what's the deal?
What's the deal?
Also, we do need to get you on because there's a bigger story with a guy named Dr. Joe or Dr. Joseph.
Yeah, maybe we should save it. Maybe we should save it for a call in. Yeah, maybe that would be nice. If you would, if after being solicited as a new best friend, you're still comfortable coming on the show.
They made me fly black
for El Tráfico. I see. Okay.
Why did they make you do that? Every time, I'm just so curious.
So many questions.
What's wrong with the German flag? There are a whole bunch of other flags there. Anyway.
All right. Well,
speaking of Germany, a lot of this is more for our second half, our LAFC, Philly Union.
It's
and
true. Maybe we will. We'll get back. We'll get back to it. Germany, Bundesliga, Bochum back to normal.
Right, 4-0 loss to Wolfsburg.
Yeah. Do you want to talk Bundesliga first, or should we talk about this extremely successful Champions League? Is that true? Right? That was the best.
It must be.
That was the best week. That was the best week in Champions League for German teams in a while.
Well, when was the last time 5 German clubs were in the Champions League? Probably never.
Well,
right?
And nobody lost, right?
Right. Well, no, Bayer Leverkusen stunk it out. They didn't lose.
No, they did not lose. Well, that game was a wild. Well, they were already. Oh, were they not already eliminated?
If they scored another goal, they would not have been eliminated.
Oh, interesting.
But they were already.
Right.
People are just like, oh, Bayer Leverkusen will lose anyway.
They were pretty much. They did not have a good. They didn't have it. They needed to win. Yeah, but that game was wild. Do you want to recall the end of it? Did you watch it?
Well, oh yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah. Maybe let's talk Bundesliga for like 5 minutes and then go to Champions League because like
Okay,
there's
sounds
not
good.
much time with the Bundesliga. Union Berlin game, amazing. They got a last minute winner, super exciting.
Yeah.
They kept them on top of the table. Other than that, there's nothing of note that week. Everyone like maybe the only other note was Werder Bremen won 1-0. Goal
Yeah,
scorer
another
Nicholas
Füllkrug.
Füllkrug.
Yeah.
Nicholas Füllkrug. So his campaign to the national team continues. Although the 55 preliminary roster was submitted. I'm curious if he was even on that roster. Do we have information related to Füllkrug was on the preliminary roster?
He was. Yes, he was.
Okay, so he was.
Yeah.
So he's still
Along with Götze and along with
the whole gang,
all
Kotschap, and Lucas Nemeka.
Nemeka. Yeah, no, I don't think Bela Kotschap was on it, but
really?
in terms of the number 9s, yeah, everybody, all the contenders were on it.
Okay, well, Werder Bremen won their 1-0. Bayern München destroyed Mainz 6-2. Was it? I believe.
Yeah.
But BVB got a win. Were they the one with the last minute winner? Hold on, I'm going to be more prepared here. Hold on. Let me see. Okay. Köln Hoffenheim 1-1. Freiburg beat Schalke 2-0. We'll talk about Schalke in a bit. Yeah, Union Berlin beating Gladbach with Danilo Deki getting the winner at 7 plus minutes in stoppage.
Well, and the equalizer also very late, right? This looked
Very
like
late.
they were going to lose 2 in a row. But they didn't. Yeah, big turnaround. Jordan, Pifok, Sibachu, Alexander Arnold, Loftus-Cheek, though, again, scoreless.
Right. Scoreless, so that's continuing on. The other big game was Dortmund-Frankfurt. Dortmund's traditional giants, but Frankfurt having a great season and a great couple of seasons. But despite 1-1 at the half, Jude Bellingham got their winner in the second half, and Dortmund won 2-1. So all is right in the world.
Although that game, they should not have won. Frankfurt was dominant, had the better chances. Even Jude Bellingham in the post-game interview said that, yeah, clearly they were better than us today. I mean, that was just a wild game, and Frankfurt got pretty unlucky, I thought. And
Dortmund, real quick, Michael's leaving. We're going to talk to you in the second half. If you can hop on the second half, I'd love to. So just want to say bye-bye, Michael. Thanks for coming. Thanks for chatting with us today. We'll have you on the pod to have a real interview. We'll have you on the pod for real. So,
that would be great. Yeah. So he's saying in the comments that he fell in love with LAFC when he attended the Dortmund game. Maybe, yeah, we'll read more of this in the second hour since this is all LAFC related. But that's great.
Yeah.
Very happy to have you come on.
Yes, Mikhail. Thank you. Welcome. You are an honorary Schnitzel. Mikhail Schnitzel. Welcome to Schnitzel Boys.
Again, I think it's too soon. I think that's too much. I'm just saying. I'm just giving you that. Just giving you that feedback.
Thanks for being here. If you want to get in the 32-52, honestly, gotta wish. I already bought tickets to the final, so we'll talk for next season. But let's talk, Mike. Let's talk, Mikhail. Let's talk. Anywho. So it seems like everybody's better than Dortmund. I mean, when was the last time they won?
Their position in the table is sort of I know they do not look great. They continue to not look great. Union Berlin stayed in first place. I saw an interesting. I know this was not a super exciting match day, so maybe we should. There's a goal impact. Do you know about goal impact? It's basically it's sort of its own kind of brand of analytics, soccer analytics, but they're not really. It doesn't really measure individual actions or possession or expected goals or anything like that. It's just basically the way I understand it. And I'm sure I'm simplifying this beyond recognition, but I think it just measures historic results of players and then basically measures the goal impact of every individual player and then adds them all up and then makes predictions about what team is good and so on. Anyway, the point of this being is that Goal Impact thinks that Union Berlin will finish in the Champions League. That this is not a fluky thing. They're not come back to earth. They're gonna definitely finish. Despite, we've been sort of looking at their underlying numbers, not being quite as good as their position in the table expresses.
Michael Jordan, Pifak, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Theosin, Sabicu needs to start scoring goals again, right?
Yeah.
And also, getting to the Champions League means they're allowed to drop 3 places before the end of the season. So,
Well, that's fair point.
And we're already a third in. It's match day 12 or 13 coming up, or 12 just finished.
Yeah, and exactly. So it's to some extent that's really the point I'm making. Even though a lot of the stuff in the table is a little topsy-turvy still, at this point you are kind of what your record says you are. The Union Berlin are going to be contenders, and Bayer Leverkusen are not. Another pretty unconvincing loss. They do look. I mean, I watched that game as well. They do look pretty good. It's not like they're terrible, but lost 2-0. Late goal by Timo Werner. I will say. Can I say this?
Please.
Every time I see Timo Werner score a goal confidently, finishing, I feel a little better about the World Cup.
I was going to say, you get a little excited, right?
I get a little excited because that really could be the missing piece. If he's going to turn into a legit striker, finishing person, number 9, in the middle, knipser, whatever you want to call him. If he is all those things, which he has not been, he was not in Chelsea. No. And I mean, I recall that French cartoon. Did we talk about this? Where there's a man in front of the firing squad and about to be executed. They have his the blindfold on. They ask him, "Do you have any last wish?" And he said, "I would like Timo Werner to shoot." That's how Timo's been.
That was in L'Equipe or something?
That was in a French newspaper. I don't know which one it was, but I saw this. So anyway, if he
Chelsea is a player killer, right?
I mean,
they kill their players. They kill Romelu Lukaku. They kill Christian Pulisic. They kill Timo Werner. They just take players and they kill them. Kind of like how Man United did for a while. Remember when Man United would gobble up players and ruin them and turn them into, like, Alexis Sanchez has never been the same since. And Chelsea's kind of doing that a little bit. And so many players recover from Chelsea, like a Kevin De Bruyne, I believe, is an example of that. Like a
Mo Salah,
like a Mo Salah. They're just like, Chelsea gobbles you up and puts the weight of it. Maybe it's because in London or something. I don't know. It's just the weight of pressure on them. It's just second to none, and it's just hard to carry. Speaking of, Caleb Hudson-Odoi left Chelsea and made his way to Bayer Leverkusen. Like Chelsea is like a place you have to survive for a bit. And you have to go lick your wounds and heal up somewhere. And it seems like that's what Timo Werner is doing at RB Leipzig. He's back at his old club. He's getting his mojo back. He's licking his wounds. He survived the Chelsea grinder, the grinder that is Chelsea Football Club.
So if he rounds into form, then he's the guy that if he's doing that, we don't have to worry about Füllkrug and Götze and all people coming out of nowhere to all of a sudden rescue this national team. I think Timo will do if he's placed like that.
A confident, high-scoring Timo Werner is the missing piece of Germany's World Cup winning puzzle. That is true. We're also at a place in time where it's injury watch time. It's time to keep an eye on the injuries.
Oh, for sure.
And Manuel Neuer, I think, just got back in the squad, thankfully. And Leroy Sané is, I think, fighting injury right now, if I'm not mistaken, right? Leroy Sané, I think, a very key piece to our attack, and I wish him the best. I don't know what his recovery time is, but hopefully it's sooner rather than later. And the injury watch continues.
Yeah,
Marco Reus is out, right?
That's going to be a huge. I think, is he officially? I don't officially know. Out for the World Cup.
I just assume.
I don't think. Yeah, I mean, you kind of do assume, right? With
Marco
Neuer,
Reus.
I'm not as worried about Neuer because I think Ter Stegen would do fine. I think we're pretty deep at goalie. Arguably, last time in 2018, Neuer sort of rushing back from injury was definitely didn't help.
I was not a fan of that. I wanted Ter Stegen to get the start. And Lothar Matthäus just wrote in this week's edition of Sportbild that he would like to see Kevin Trapp in goal at the World Cup.
Oh,
and
okay. Yeah, another good. Yeah. I mean, that's just traditionally really true, right, for the German squad. So it's not a problem. Usually pretty deep at goalie, and that's not gonna be a problem. I guess it could be a problem if Neuer again starts while not being fully fit. That would not be good.
Yeah, we don't. And also, the other thing about that, maybe we could talk about that for a second. Like, I love Manuel Neuer. The dude's amazing. He is our greatest goalkeeper generation. And he's great. But, he won the World Cup. He did that. He's 35. And Germany has these world-class goalkeepers who haven't got their shot, except for someone like Marc-Andre Ter Stegen, who was that goalkeeper when there was a clear shift in Confederations Cup 2017, right? That's when the German national team stopped being a dominant. German national team was the best team in the world from 14 to 17, I would say. Tippy top, unquestioned. And in 2017, they sent a B squad, the Confederations Cup, because they were an embarrassment of riches, featuring Marc-Andre Ter Stegen and Julian Draxler, and they destroyed.
Yeah,
I think they beat Chile 7-1 in the semis. What was it again? They destroyed.
7-1. That was the world. That was Brazil, right?
No, but the Confederations Cup, they did it again. They beat someone 7-0 in the semis. I think they beat someone in the final 4-0. They destroyed. Typical German blitzkrieg. Part of the terrible whatever. It was
they beat Mexico 4-1. That was their highest win in the semis, and then they beat Chile. They beat Chile in the final 1-0. Lars Stindl goal.
Got it. I think Chile then beat Mexico 7-0. Right? There was a huge uneven game in that tournament. Didn't Chile destroy Mexico or something? I don't remember. For all our bustling fans, help me out in the comments. But the what I'm saying was they were dominant. They were the Germany we knew. Yeah, and then really when that ended, it stopped. Germany had a really rough year after that, and there was a clear schism in the team, right? A clear division between the bling bling boys and the Bayern boys. Essentially, there was a crew of Bayern guys like a Manuel Neuer, like a Thomas Müller, like one or two others. It escapes me at the moment. And then there was a crew of other guys, the Mesut Özils and the Sami Khediras, and they were very divided. The news goes they're very divided over Leroy Sané, who was not a Bayern player but a Man City player at the time. Anyway, it was a whole politics thing. But the reason I bring that up is because Marc-Andre Ter Stegen was great, and he was a goalkeeper, and he was young up and coming. And it's like, Manuel Neuer, you have your World Cup. Go retire. Let Ter Stegen and Kevin Trapp get a shot. But he never wanted to relent. He stayed. He stayed. Got the captain armband.
Well, I mean, I don't think I agree with that. I think he can do whatever he wants if he wants to play. But I think the problem in 2018 was he wasn't 100%. He was coming back from injury, and there was some talk, should he start, should he not start? And I think, not that he could be blamed individually for the early exit. That was certainly a collective thing. But I think, people came in a little overconfident after this Confederations Cup.
But he's team captain. He was absent the whole time there, and he showed up as team captain, and it was such a fractured dressing room. As team captain, you take some responsibility for that, don't you? I mean, what's the job of the captain other than to unify the team a little bit, right? Isn't it on the team captain?
Yeah, I mean, if that's the problem, then for sure, that's his responsibility. But I think he also individually was not as good as he needed to be.
No, he did okay, but yeah, it was a little last minute. Not that he was particularly bad, but we had Ter Stegen ready to go. I think Ter Stegen should have played in that World Cup, and I understand like it's Mano Neuer's team captain. He's a good team captain. He's back in form again. Good. However, I would be perfectly fine if Kevin Trapp was keeper or Marc-Andre Ter Stegen was keeper. We're pretty deep at keepers. I would say deeper than most. I don't know anyone else as deep as we are when it comes to keepers.
Yeah, that's true.
But definitely we have weaker areas elsewhere. Like Robin Gosens in the left winger. He's in Serie A. He's at Inter Milan, I believe, right? Inter Milan.
He was great in the Euros. He was so good. He had a big injury and he's coming back. I don't know. He'll be all right. David Raum is good on left back. I don't know. It's more the right side is I feel like it's less.
Oh, gotcha.
Is more troubled in my opinion. I think Thilo Kehrer, he's having a bit of a rough time at West Ham.
Right.
We'll see what the other options are there. You want to say something about Schalke?
Well, I think you wanted to say something about Schalke, because who is Schalke's new coach?
It's Thomas Reis, yeah.
Thomas Reis. I knew he was. He's still in the Ruhrgebiet. Schalke is probably the next nearest club to Bochum, right? Compared to Dortmund, they're like half an hour away from each other.
Well, they're less, like 15 minutes. Yeah. No, Schalke is true. Schalke is a little closer than Dortmund. Dortmund's like 20 minutes. Schalke like 15. Yeah, very close together.
Depending what side of the neighborhood you live in.
Pretty much, true. Yeah, you could be. I mean, maybe Dortmund is 25. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They're both very close, which is why Bochum will always be squeezed in, always be a small market team. But now Thomas Reis, he had an offer to come to Schalke this summer. The club said no, and now he's getting it. He found the only team in the Bundesliga with a weaker squad than Bochum this is going to be quite the task for him.
He went from 17th to 18th after one job interview. so good for him. But Schalke, you blame the coach. I don't necessarily think it's the coach's fault, but you give it to Thomas Reis, a very confident, energetic coach. He'll want to prove people wrong. He'll want to definitely prove his neighbors wrong, Bochum, after his unceremonious treatment there. And, they got themselves a good coach, so good get from Schalke. And we'll see if that gives a little bounce back for them for the rest of the season. Because Schalke needs something. They definitely need something.
I believe in Thomas Reis. I don't have much faith in that, in the squad. I think Bochum and Schalke, if you just look at their rosters, I think they're the obvious two candidates for relegation. I mean, and I hate to say that as a Bochum fan, but just realistically, I mean, they're behind in points. The goal differential tells an even more kind of even clearer story. Bochum minus 21, Schalke minus 17. There's just a big gap. I mean, the next team ahead of them is Bayer Leverkusen. Do we honestly believe that Bochum or Schalke will catch Bayer Leverkusen by the end of the season? I don't.
It's a good question. Like I said, Bayer Leverkusen, terrible results. I imagine they're in a little bit of a transitionary period right now where they're trying to learn. Xabi Alonso wants them to play, I imagine.
Yeah.
And Bayer Leverkusen has a good squad. Hudson Odoi, Abu Diaby. They got good players.
Yeah, they're gonna get it together. I think. I think the relegation candidates are Hertha, Stuttgart, Bochum, and Schalke. There's going to be, out of those four, it's going to be the three. We're going to find the teams going down, and Bochum and Schalke would be my bet still. I mean, Bochum, I was a little late turning on the game, and they're already behind. This has happened frequently this season, that I'm 3 minutes late to tune it in, and it's already kind of over. Especially on the road, they just don't have that much to offer. But Schalke is in a similar spot. But yeah, good luck to Thomas Reis. He's great. I think I thought, at some point last year, I thought he should Man United should consider him. So now he's at Schalke, another big club, and if he can turn this one around, then he deserves everything.
Manchester United is next. The Manchester United is next after Ten Hag gets fired or whatever. Yeah, good on him. They said Bochum, the minute they have talent that leaves on a free, it's up for Dortmund and Schalke to just gobble that up. They'll be like, all right, we'll give you a contract. Don't worry about it. Might as well grab the talent you can.
Well,
and the opportunity you can. Schalke didn't have to pay for relocation fee. They saved themselves some money. It was a good budget. It was a good budget hire for that. Got to keep the budgetary. Bottom line is key.
Hire. Come on.
Remember, bottom line is key. Remember. Cool, very cool. Well, Stuttgart did beat Augsburg on the weekend. That's, I guess, the only sort of surprising title because Augsburg's been really good over the last few weeks. But Stuttgart got their 3 points. Okay, but I think the main topic is Germans in the Champions League, in the Königsklasse. We're doing pretty well.
Well,
except for one club.
I mean, last week, I meant to look this up. I didn't. But I don't remember the last time that there was that not one German team lost.
That's right. They're all
wins in a match day. There's five games and nobody lost. I don't think. I mean, certainly that has not happened this season, and it probably hasn't happened in a while. And so even though Bayer Leverkusen is eliminated and Leipzig.
That felt like a loss. That was a draw that felt like a loss. Atletico really needed to win. And I'll tell you, I watched most of that game. I think I watched the second half because I hopped around a bit. And Atletico just had the ball, and Bayer Leverkusen were just sitting there taking it. It was just all Atletico. But Bayer Leverkusen snapped him on the corner more than once and pulled in tight. And then Bayer Leverkusen Atletico, which was a fun game, they had that crazy post
finish.
Whistle penalty kick, and this is one of 2 or 3 pretty specific calls that they needed Christina Unkel to analyze and explain in the post game.
Right.
There was some crazy specific calls because we have that Harry Kane call that Conte went off on. Mm-hmm. And then, right, that was the Champions League, if I'm not mistaken, right? Harry Kane's goal was disallowed. Mm-hmm. And then we had that post-game penalty kick. And I think there was something else, too, wasn't there? Was there another last-minute penalty kick somewhere else?
I remember those two.
Maybe I mixed up those two. But after the final whistle, Atletico Madrid got a penalty kick.
On a pretty dubious, I thought,
right,
VAR handball call.
Right.
But
they needed a goal.
They needed a goal to not be eliminated. It was 2-2 at this point.
The game was done.
Mm-hmm.
They had to unwhistle. They had to revive the game again to get this penalty kick in because the whistle was whistled, and he steps up and misses the penalty.
Well, Hideki is the goalie. Carrasco takes the penalty. The penalty is saved. Hideki saves it. It falls to, who was it? Another Atletico player heads it against the crossbar.
Right.
It bounces back yet again. Somebody else takes a shot, and it bounces off of Carrasco, who stands on the goal line. And it bounces off him and goes out, and that's the end of the game. And
I know, amazing.
I mean,
which also need an explanation.
Wild.
Clarified by Christina Unkel after the game.
Yeah.
They said how much, so it's after the whistle, how much more can they play? Because it's 2 rebounds. And pretty much she said it's a phase of play. So when that was over and Bayer Leverkusen turned around and kicked it out, then like the end of the game, you would whistle it off.
Right.
That meant that they could have gotten 1 or 2 of those rebounds. It all would have counted.
And it would have counted. And they got 3. They got 3 chances. And
all 3. And Bayer Leverkusen could continue to be eliminated, just like they were 3 minutes prior. But Bayer Leverkusen is still in the running for the Europa League.
For the third place, yeah, which
The
they
third
wouldn't have been otherwise. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And
So they're still in the running for Europe, just not
and I
Champions
mean,
League.
realistically, Leverkusen, even with a win, it would have been pretty slim.
Right.
They're pretty far behind. It's Brugge and Porto, Club Brugge and Porto have a big lead, but yeah, that's the unbeaten match day for the German teams hinged on that crazy penalty. But
all other teams are still alive for the next round, including for a club like Bayern München, they're destroying, right? They got 5 wins.
5 games, 5 wins. Yeah,
5 games, 5 wins. Barcelona limped out very sadly. Thomas Muller was sad for his old friend Robert Lewandowski. And then Borussia Dortmund is in second place, right? Second place. They're doing well.
Yeah,
they've got a 3-point cushion.
Mm-hmm.
Not guaranteed, but hopefully they get. I think they need at least a tie.
Yeah, tie gets
in
them
their
in.
last game, and I think they're qualified. So let's wish them the best. With that, RB Leipzig beat Real Madrid.
Yeah, they're playing at Copenhagen on Wednesday. Dortmund.
Yeah, they're at Copenhagen, which is the bottom feeder club. Copenhagen will be playing for Europa League, though, so it's not like they're not playing for nothing. But like I said, they just need a tie, so I wish them the best.
I mean, the
with
big
that.
one. Yeah, the big one is RB Leipzig beating Real Madrid.
In Madrid, they did well. So that group is Real Madrid on top with 10, Leipzig with 9, Shakhtar and Celtic. Same thing. Leipzig will probably just need a draw to get through. So Dortmund and Leipzig both need a draw. Bayern are already through. And then we got Frankfurt in what's arguably the most exciting group of the bunch. Tottenham, Sporting, Frankfurt, and Marseille.
Yeah, everybody's still in.
Everybody's still in 8, 7, 7, 6, respectively. And it's on the wire here for all. It's going to be a total popcorn jumble.
Yeah.
This is the group of life, definitely.
Frankfurt on the road at Sporting Lisbon. So not
Portugal.
Very difficult.
Not easy for them.
Difficult assignment.
And they would lose with a draw. So Frankfurt do need a win, I think. Because
not
Sporting is ahead on goal differential.
Necessarily. Okay. No, that's true. You're right.
Yeah, because if they tied, all these teams would at least be 8-8-8, but Frankfurt would be the odd man out with the bad goal differential.
Right.
So they do need a win in Portugal, but a win in Portugal sends Frankfurt through the round of 16. And when was the last team Eintracht Frankfurt was in the round of 16 in the Champions League? The 70s?
Perhaps never. Well, the Champions League, you mean like other Euro Cup? Yeah,
I guess the Cup Winners' Cup back then, right? I think there was that famous Cup Winners' Cup where Real Madrid came to town and beat Frankfurt 6-2 back in the 60s or something. And that was sort of the first time Germans realized the Spanish clubs were maybe better than them. But in the modern era, I can't think of the last time Frankfurt were in the Champions League round of 16. So good on them. We could have 4 German teams in the round of 16.
Yeah, that's true. By the way, just to clarify, the goal differential that is the tiebreaker is only the goal differential between teams that are tied in points.
So a head-to-head.
So a head-to-head.
Between Frankfurt and Sporting.
Yeah, but that also, depending on how the other game goes, because there could be a 3-way tie. If Tottenham loses, for example, then there could be, or if there's so it's all.
Sporting beat Frankfurt 3-0 in Frankfurt. So I don't think they're doing well
same.
With that one
So
either.
exactly. So same difference. Frankfurt need to win.
Right.
And probably decisively.
Frankfurt needs to get points. I don't think goal differential is their friend.
Right. Well, goal differential doesn't matter. Because
unless
if they
it's
beat
head-to-head, you said.
Right, if it's a head-to-head, it's the head-to-head goal differential. But if Frankfurt beat Lisbon, they have more points, so then a win will get them through. A tie will not get them through.
Their goal differential with Sporting is -3.
Yeah,
and their
so
goal
that's,
differential with Tottenham is -1.
Yeah.
So goal differential is not their friend here.
It's not going to make a difference, so they need to win.
They need their points. They need to win. Mach hin, Jungs. Vamos, Frankfurt. Vamos. Sabi?
Yeah.
Is that German? Vamos.
Vamos. No,
Vamos.
that would be Spanish.
The Spanish a little bit. Vamos, Frankfurto. Vamos. Come on, Frankfurt. The birthplace of my sisters. where my parents once met.
Here we go.
My parents met at a British company called ICI. And I'm looking at all these BBC archival videos. And there's this great interview of a young Elton John. You won't even recognize him talking about club ownership because he owned Watford back in the 80s or something. It's about English football, how Bundesliga is doing it better with the fans and blah, blah, blah. And then it cuts this one executive where he's like, we saw what happened up in Manchester, how ICI ruined that club, and blah, 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 about my parents' company buying and ruining Manchester City back in the 70s. And he's like, how the future of soccer can't be corporate ownership or something. Oh boy.
Yeah, well.
Oh boy, did he predict that wrong.
That's not how it went.
Imagine if you saw who owned Manchester City now. The worst owners in the world, if I'm not mistaken, by far. If subjectively.
Okay. All right then.
Little segue.
Little segue. All right. Yeah, I guess.
But anyway, tomorrow and Wednesday, big games.
Leverkusen at home against Bruges. I guess that's not that big a game because they're playing for the Europa spot. Bayern at home against Inter. They are already through. Frankfurt, we said, on the road in Lisbon.
That's the
and
big
then
one.
on Wednesday, we have Leipzig at Shakhtar, which a tie also is enough for them to guaranteed go through.
And Shakhtar has been playing. Shakhtar, the Ukrainian club, has been playing, with a country on their backs this season. They're no pushovers. I think they beat Real Madrid right in that first round, and Shakhtar Donetsk, no pushovers. So it's also going to be a pretty big game. And then Dortmund at Copenhagen. So we wish you all the best, Jungs. Mahen.
Yep, we're excited.
On to the next round,
and then that's it for Champions League this year. And then they're gonna have the draw for the round of 16, but that's not going to be until next year.
And then next week, there's going to be a Bundesliga round in the middle of the week. It's going to be Englische Woche next week. There's so much football. There's so much club play, Champions League, Bundesliga, the Pokal, MLS. It's just playing and playing and playing. And then the minute that ends, 4 days will go by, and it'll be the World Cup all of a sudden. It's boom, World Cup.
We're going to have injuries. People are going to go down left and right because this is a lot of soccer to be played, and not everyone manages, there's been more rotation, I feel like, in general than before for this reason, but not, we'll see. It'll be good. I mean, it won't be good if you get hurt before the World Cup. No one wants that.
No. In fact, there are certain players who I think are feigning injury a little bit, keeping themselves safe for the World Cup. Little preview,
really? Like who?
Preview for things to come. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, you mean like Gareth Bale?
Maybe someone like.
Are you saying Gareth Bale? Let's just say Gareth Bale. All right.
Maybe so Weston McKennie.
Is this it for Germany?
Do you have any other things to say?
I don't think so.
Timo Werner scoring. German clubs in the Champions League. Union Berlin still surviving at the top, but Bayern München sniffing 1 point behind.
Bochum and Schalke are in trouble.
Bochum, Schalke in trouble. Germany, baby! This has been segment 1 of the Schnitzel Boys podcast. We're focused on Germany and German things. Coming up next,
playoff magic. Playoff disappointment.
It's playoffs, American soccer. So
if you want to see me cry, you see me cry, stay tuned.
If you want to see me cry. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been Schnitzel Boys. Tell your friends and family, subscribe, comment on us. No one's subscribing, no one's commenting, no one's rating us. Help us, please. We're desperate. Ladies and gentlemen, till next week was Nächste Woche, where we'll have 4 German clubs in the round of 16, hopefully. Tschüss.
Tschüss.
Nächste Woche.
Mach's gut. Oh.
3, 2, 1. Beep, beep, boop, boop, beep, beep, boop. Dee, 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 dee. Dee, 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 dee. All right, baby. Time for a refresh, rebrand.
I'm gonna change shirts. I'm gonna change shirts.
Okay, let's change. Should we do it during the thing? You got a minute, or do you want to?
No, let's do it right now. Yeah. No, that'd be fine. Turn it on.
All right, and quick change.
Sie hören Sport und Musik.
Das Spiel ist aus. Deutschland ist Weltmeister.
In a world where fans fight over whether to call it football, or soccer, two German men defy the odds and call it Fußball. Bringing you inside the German-American football experience. And now, here are your hosts, the Schnitzel Boys.
Oh! Oh, hello there!
Hi.
Why, I didn't see you come in. It's the American Soccer Playoff Halloween edition of the Schnitzel Boys.
Yep.
Got your brother to the east and west coast. We were there on the ground feeling although it's Halloween, it feels like Christmas time in this part of the world, because this is the most exciting, arguably the most exciting time of American soccer. It's playoff season, playoff fever. Bjorn, you crying? You crying or what? What do we got here?
I'm pretty sad, yeah. I mean,
why are you so sad? Why are you so sad?
Not gonna lie. Yeah. I mean, that was I was in I almost didn't make it to the game. I was I have this job that didn't end until 5 a.m. Sunday morning in this case.
Oh, crap.
And so it was I was really not feeling it, so I was briefly considering not going, but my niece wanted to go and my friends wanted to go, so shout out to Mark and Nick and Hannah for dragging for sort of lifting me up, and I'm glad I went, but it was hard. It was a hard I mean, we knew going in that this wasn't going to be a lukewarm experience. The Philly people were mad, and it was either going to be we were going to be delighted by winning the Eastern Conference trophy on their field 2 years in a row. That was option one, and option B, I guess, was this. was what happened. But if you were, we were saying this in the car afterwards, if you were writing a script and you wanted to inflict maximum pain on the New York City supporting characters, this is how you would draw it. This is how you would draw it up. Because,
well, two things. It's cool you went with the whole crew. Was your son with you there? Was Max there too?
He did not come. No, Max had other plans. He had some other plans.
But you went with your niece. That's nice. She wanted to go.
Yeah, my niece is visiting. She lives in Oxford. In Oxford, England. This was another funny. Thing that happened. I ordered a. Do you know who the Panini cheapskates are?
No, I know what Panini is. What's the cheapskates?
Panini Panini is the sticker album that comes out for the World Cup, and there's these two people. I think they're a couple in England. These two people, they call themselves the Panini cheapskates, and they started by badly drawing in the player into their album because they didn't want to pay for the stickers, and they have sort of leveraged this into a very funny kind of Twitter account and merchandise operation where they just draw, and really badly, I mean self-proclaimed, without any talent, drawing these games. Anyway, they were offering a World Cup kind of schedule poster, and so I ordered this, and when it arrived, my niece said, "Oh, I live on that street." She lives on the same street in Oxford. She was looking at the package, the tube that arrived with this poster, and it had a return address in it. And apparently the Panini cheapskates and my niece...
Are her neighbors.
live on the
Yeah.
same street in Oxford, England. I mean, that's like,
Well,
what do you make of that? Random.
What I make of that is it's 6 degrees of Bjorn Schnitzel. Okay, can't just be me all
Apparently,
the
yeah,
time.
I
Sometimes gotta be you.
I too have unexpected connections
How
in the
is-
soccer world.
I keep freaking ask you, how is your Panini sticker album going?
It's done. It's complete.
Even
It's,
with the Messi, you got everything.
Everything.
Isn't the Messi card like a $300 card or something like that?
What? The card? No, these are just stickers. The
Yeah, the Messi
stickers that you
sticker's
put-
worth $300 or something.
What? I don't.
I think you have a
Not
very
the one-
valuable sticker.
Not the
Either
one that I
I-
have.
Okay, I guess there's like a gold version, right? Are there different words?
They have. I mean, they have. They have. Oh yeah, yeah. They now have sort of this artificial scarcity where they have different colored borders
right.
for
I think
different.
it's the Messi
yeah.
gold. Messi
Oh,
gold was
okay.
like $300.
All right. Well, I don't. I didn't pay attention. I was swapping with the guy from Brazil, and he said, "Oh, mine have a different background." I'm like, "That's fine. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't mind if it's different
Yeah.
colors or yeah, it's fine. It all adds to the sort of variety of it. Yeah, no, it's done. It's complete.
That's very cool. I couldn't find one. All the Walgreens around here just have empty boxes of where the albums used to be.
I have an extra album. You want me to send it to you?
Maybe they want to give it to your son or something.
No, we've decided we needed one per family. It's not a cheap, you know. I mean, I understand. That's why I understand the idea of the Panini cheapskates, because it's not cheap to buy all these stickers. It's not a cheap thing. So I mean, it is fun, but
maybe. But I've got so much going on in my life. You know what I am looking for though. You know what I am looking for though, Bjorn, is a World Cup preview magazine.
Oh yeah.
ESPN used to do great ones, but they don't have the World Cup anymore, so they don't do them. And then Sports Illustrated used to do them great, but I have no information. I don't think they're doing one either. Like I have they're next because of the way the World Cup is. They're doing a big NBA preview special instead. So I'm just like, where am I going to get my World Cup preview?
I guess print instead, huh?
And
I used to always get the kicker preview.
I was going to say, I'm looking into that or 442, the British version.
Right.
But again, it's just very Anglo-centric. But it's still, because we're in the same group. USA is the same group. And that I could probably get at a magazine shop here in the States somewhere. Where kicker, I mean, where am I going to get a kicker?
No, I would have a family member send that. I would not try to find it here. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm on the hunt for a good World Cup guide. It might end up being the 442. You know, Soccer America, you know, you used to, I don't know if you print hard copy, if you print World Cup previews, you know, I don't know. Do it up. And then there's a lot of these magazines I just don't trust. I think this is called World Soccer Magazine and stuff, where it's like, I don't know where they're from or anything about them. So anyway, I'm on the hunt for a good World Cup preview Heftchen.
Yeah.
A little magazine, you know, like anywhere else in the world on magazine shops, there'll be a dime a dozen. Germany, Italy, England, Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, probably. Maybe I'll go down to Tijuana. How about that? Or I'll go to like a Mexican. I don't have to go to Tijuana. I'm in LA. I go to like a Mexican magazine store.
Right.
Maybe they'll have like a little World Cup preview. It'll be in Spanish.
Yeah, I hear here in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, there's a couple of Polish stationery magazine stores. I could look there, but if it was in Polish, it really wouldn't do me much good, I guess. But maybe, I'll see.
Maybe they'll have a kicker. You know where you can get a kicker, by the way? On the Upper East Side of Germany, Yorkville. I think I've bought kickers there before. It's a little bit of a trek. You got to get a train going the Upper East Side.
I was going to say that is not. That's not in my usual purview. Yeah.
You'd rather have someone just mail it to you.
I'd rather. It's easier for me to get my brother to mail it to me than to go to the Upper East Side.
Honestly, probably, definitely. Just an option.
No, that's a good call. I have not been up there in a long time. I would be interested to see what it's like these days.
It's Klein Deutschland, little Germany.
Schaller and Weber, yeah.
Schaller and Weber, they have this
Heidelberg restaurant. I've been there.
Great restaurant. And then around the corner from those two is like a German magazine shop. I think you can maybe get a kicker or a sport bill.
Well,
there's some import stuff.
Maybe I will visit.
Don't quote me on that. I used to trek up there to get my Deutsches Fanta because I love Fantasie. Fanta is short for fantasy. It's the German. Yeah.
It's short for Fantasia. I didn't know that. That's weird. A drink
story
named
goes-
Fantasie?
Do you know the story of Fanta?
No, please tell me.
Little my precursor.
Anything to distract from my playoff misery. Please tell me.
Yeah.
Tell the story of Fantasie.
We only have 2 games to talk about. We got 45 minutes, so I got a
Plenty
little
of
bit
time.
here.
Oh, I have a lot to say though.
I know. We'll do this Fantasie section, and then we'll work our way back to the thing. So, Fanta is a German company. It was a subsidiary of Coke out of Atlanta, a big American soda company. I don't know if you're familiar with Coke, but they're worldwide.
I am. I vaguely, yeah.
Vaguely, yeah. They're all over the place. Anyway, during the war, back in the day, Germany had an embargo, so no materials made its way from Coke of USA to Coke of Germany. So the associate head of Coke of Germany was a German dude, and they were totally disconnected. And they're like, listen, we're a soda company. We're not getting our materials. We got to do something. We got to figure out something. So they scrounged together all the crap they had, which was primarily out of apples and stuff like that, apples and oranges and whatnot. And then they turned that into this drink, which became Fanta, which is what we know today as Fanta, based on the materials they had. And they did a national campaign trying to name the thing. And there was an audience vote of super fans that put in. And they all voted. I think they voted on the name Fantasie. As in, like, it's a fantasy drink or something. And then they shortened it to Fanta. And that's the story of Fanta. And then when the World War was over, the Coke of America called Coke of Germany, like, you still exist? Yeah, we had no idea what happened to you guys. I'm like, yeah, we're out. We had to make this thing called Fanta. Check it out. And then Fanta was added to the Coke repertoire of drinks. And then Germany got to get regular Coke again. And they reconnected. And all was well with the world. Although the recipe for Fanta in the United States is totally different than the recipe for Fanta in Europe. In Europe, it's more of like an orange juicy, like Orangina type thing. Where here it's just straight up crush style orange soda. It's very different taste. Less exciting here. I prefer the German recipe.
Yeah, it's also slightly less. It's a little less sweet than the version.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm a big soda head, and German Fanta, you can get it at World Market, and you can get it on the Upper East Side of New York.
Yeah,
and a certain import place you can get it, and it's
Fantasie.
a delicious little treat.
Right.
Delicious
little treat.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the story of Fanta. Anyway, we had 2 soccer games to go to. Okay. You want to do LAFC Austin? Want to do it in order first? Do you want to do it in?
Sure.
Or do you want to? Then we'll end with your experience. So. I did not go to the I went to the LFC LA Galaxy game. It was a lot of fun. I did not go to the LAFC Austin game because it was $200. And it's like, I'm not made of $200 a pop, man. Especially if I'm going to the MLS Cup. I got to save somewhere. So,
You're not made of $200.
Now, granted, morning of, I think I found an $80 ticket. So I could have gone. However, my work schedule, you said you work till 5 a.m. I'm always working till 6 or 7 a.m. because I work graveyard.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm going to chill. I work till 7 a.m. I'm going to go home, nap, and then hang out, watch the games on TV at home. So that's what I did. I watched LAFC Austin at home, the comfort of my own home, and Austin just had nothing to offer, right? They were pretty blanked,
Yeah.
LAFC ran away with that game. And the only major talking points I have is, well, a couple, I guess. One is Gareth Bale, people are claiming he has a legit injury. I think if he gave more of a crap, he'd be playing. I think he's really just saving himself up for Wales.
But what's the strategy there, though? You think?
What do you mean? He doesn't want to. Gareth Bale doesn't want to get injured. He wants to stay healthy for Wales.
But he has played so little. I mean, people were like, "Oh, he's coming to LA to get fit for the World Cup." Did you see him? Didn't you see him running up and down that field in that little trainer of his? I mean,
that's how he gets fit.
He's
never going to get on the field.
You need some competitive, right? If you're not going to.
He doesn't want to get injured. I mean, the rule is his thing isn't strong enough, so if he makes a strong kick, he'll injure himself. So to be clear, like someone like Alejandro Bedoya, with his dirty hips, ran on the field for 45 minutes. Gareth Bale, who's probably
Yeah, I mean,
vastly
he looked
healthier
like-
than Alejandro Bedoya.
He looked like he was hurt, though. I mean,
Right. We'll save that for later.
Right. Sorry.
I'm just saying that if you want to
Jumping
play, you can play. If Gareth Bale wanted to play, if he cared about LAFC, if he cared about winning, these ain't friendlies. These are conference finals. He
Yep.
would play. But he's not because he wants to make sure he's healthy for Wales versus USA on November 21st, which is whatever. It's his prerogative.
All right.
But they're paying for that.
Yeah, I mean, he was famous, right, in Madrid for prioritizing Wales and golf over Madrid.
Surprise, surprise! LA didn't focus him up anymore.
Did not rejigger his priorities. Yeah,
No.
I mean, I guess all for the best, right? Not a problem.
Yeah,
Not a
LAFC
problem.
don't care.
Not a problem in the sense they have plenty of attacking options.
LAFC
And the Austin defense that looked pretty solid against FC Dallas. You just knew after that first goal, you knew things were going to open up, and LA was going to score a couple more on the break, and that's exactly what happened.
Austin had nothing to offer the entire game. I didn't think of one where it's like, oh, Austin might do this. It was just LAFC the whole way. LAFC is the deepest team in MLS history, right? Don't you think?
I mean,
They've got someone good to go. They've got 5 great center backs. They've got 6 world-class forwards. I mean, they've got players in every...
Who are their 5 great center backs?
I don't know their names. The center backs, Giorgio Chiellini and the Ghanaian kid who came on or something.
Chiellini was only good for 45 minutes. They got
Yeah,
a
but
lot
I'm
of
saying
they
they
got
got
a lot
depth.
of players.
Then they replaced him with an Ecuadorian international or something. You know what I mean? Like they've got depth. I mean, you know what? Do you disagree with what I'm saying?
They got depth. I don't. I mean, I'm mulling.
If they take off Carlos Vela, they put on Gareth
I'm
Bale.
mulling over this. I'm mulling over this idea of the deepest team in the history of. I mean, I
Offer me
think
an
considering how deep they are, supposedly, Steven Cherundolo sort of keeps running out the same people. I don't know. That'd be my counterpoint to that idea.
I mean, right. I need to like look at every team in MLS history, but you know, I've got a decent memory, and I can't think of a team much deeper than LAFC. They've got world class players injured, doesn't bother them. They still have a world class starting lineup, and then their bench is also. They've got World Cup winners not world winners. They have World Cup contenders on the bench. How many MLS clubs have more than one World Cup participant sitting on their bench? Very few. You know, I look at my New York Red Bulls.
Yeah, they are.
I love that bench.
No, right.
Yeah. Our starting lineup wouldn't even make their bench. And in a team of parity, that's saying something. They did some really good contract work over there.
Certainly won't not looking to downplay their roster. They did incredible to assemble this much talent in a relatively short amount of time too. They had a really good. The last 2 transfer windows were incredible for them. That's definitely full credit. And
even their younger guys, the young Ghanaian guy comes off the bench, scores a great goal. He's good to go.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, look at that kid. Like we would love to have him as our starting number 9.
It's I mean, a lot of this comes back to the midfield. I feel like they just have the most complete and complementary group of midfield players.
Kellen Acosta, even
in the
Latif
entire
Blessing
league,
can't get a sniff.
Latif Blessing is lost his spot, and they're looking good.
Deep,
and
deep squad. And then as far as on the field, even though it was 3-0, 2 big calls. I just did Austin FC? They should have gotten a penalty, right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong? So. They should have gotten a penalty.
I thought so.
The referee went to the VAR board. He looked at the video. And what was he looking at? I'd love to be explained as to what he saw. He said no.
Well,
no penalty, move on. The foot, he missed the ball, and one defender's foot stepped on the other foot. And 9 times out of 10, anywhere else, that'd be a penalty kick.
It would be, yeah. I was surprised by that, too. I think there was some, how players fall is really it's now really taken into consideration in a lot of places, and I don't really fully get why. If you get hit,
he's a referee. He's too good for that. Go to the screen, look at the thing that we saw. Be like, he missed the ball, foot on foot, contact. Took him
but he
down
did.
the box,
He went to the
penalty.
screen. He went to the screen. He said no. And yeah, I was surprised too. And they were down 2-0 at that point. Yeah, so it would have been that would have definitely changed things.
And then they got a great goal there at the end to make it 4-0. And the refs were like, offside. And we saw a quick replay. We're like, who's offside? And then that was the end of it, and they just moved on. And I'm like, why was that goal called off? I'm just like, again,
no, that one I think
big.
Was legit, right?
I don't know. I'd love to know. They showed a quick replay on the TV. The TV announcers were like, I don't see what the ref sees, and I didn't see what the refs. It all looked good to me. And then they literally John Champion was like, well, it doesn't matter anyway. They won 3-0. So that can affect the game, but they move on. But it's like, again, I think that was a good call. I don't know. I just don't understand. Like, it didn't affect the game. LAFC dominated the game and they won. Right. However, the game probably should have been 4-1, not 3-0. Like, I don't call the moments right. I don't know. What happens if that moment mattered more? I don't get why I don't know. I don't get it sometimes. So in my opinion, there were two pretty iffy ref calls I'd love some explanation on, which kind of goes back to the Christina Unkel thing. Those calls were really confusing in the Champions League, and Christina Unkel explained it in a way where it's like, oh, okay, now I get it, right? There was that handball in the box. If you look very closely, it's the first handball.
It's the first one. That's what was weird about that, because then it hits the guy on the shoulder, and you're like, that's not his hand.
No, it isn't.
But
it was
that is
handball.
not what the. But that one is very, very. It was sort of hard to see, especially because you weren't focused on it because you were looking at the second.
But we had a referee break it down.
Yeah, explain
for us,
it.
You know.
I mean, I always feel like this is kind of the announcer's job to break this down. I think a lot of announcers, especially in the Premier League, I notice this, keep themselves willfully ignorant of these things and are like, what is that? I don't get it. And it's like, well, I mean, it can be figured out most of the time.
The Champions League broadcast. We didn't even talk about that. The Champions League broadcast by CBS in Brooklyn, which was amazing in my opinion. I love how they did all that. It was so pretty, a backdrop right there on the Brooklyn Promenade. Good job, CBS. Real quick, I'm gonna give you a round of applause.
They're doing a good job with the Champions League coverage. Yeah, it's true.
But it is a bunch of like World Cup winners being like, I don't get what's the rule,
Yeah.
And then Christine Unkel explaining it to them. And you're right, they're paid analysts. They should read the book, right?
It's like, I mean, just know this stuff, right? I mean, it's not it's not rocket science. And the things the rules do keep changing, and I mean, in this case, I think this was genuinely confusing. I mean, this is kind of one of those times where it is complicated, and these are sort of wrinkles of the rules that don't usually come up, like how much of that penalty kick is still allowed to commence. Those things I don't expect. Those are the finer points. I don't expect anyone to know, but like sometimes people are just like, I don't understand what is happening, or like this should be reviewed. It's like everything gets reviewed. There's people whose entire job is to look at these things. It's not like they decide to not look at it. If you disagree with something, that's fine. There's always subjectivity. There's always certain it's never it's rarely black and white.
What happens when he looks at it and he comes with the wrong call, like he did Austin?
Well, you're saying it's wrong. He's saying he went down too easily. He's saying.
So here we go. The Harry Kane one's also complicated because people are still disagreeing over that. The referee explained it with the whole behind the ball but in front of the player nonsense. Mm-hmm. I don't get it. Anyway,
nonsense.
Just stuff where people. I know on the ESPN FC, Frank Leboeuf still arguing that it wasn't a goal, even though so. Because it's like, when I was a player, I was taught X, Y, and Z or whatever, But anyway, don't need to get into that. How would you feel if soccer adopted an NFL-style approach where the referee had a microphone in his face, and when he was done looking at VARs, he announced to the whole crowd, he's like, a non-aggressive penalty, foot on the ball, it's a penalty. You know what I mean? Like he said it out loud. So everyone knew exactly what he was saying. I'm wondering if that would appease the fans more. Because I think the biggest thing that fuels anger and argument and yelling is the silence from the referee. It's the referees just saying, this is it. You know what I mean? Without offering explanation. And it leads to all this rhetoric and yelling and blah, 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 blah. If a referee explained it, he's like, Harry Kane, offside. The ball was behind this line, but he was in front of that line, as can be clearly seen by the thing. That's the rules. Fertig ist es. It's done. You know, if it's announced that way, then people would be less upset because what are you going to argue? You just explain the black and white rules to you on the call.
My response to that is, they're not black and white. A lot of the time, it's subjective. A lot of penalty, especially when it comes to penalty decisions, when it comes to fouls, there's contact, and then people go down. The attacker is also incentivized to go down very easily. So if it's just contact, if any kind of contact in the box is enough for a penalty, then there'd be a lot of penalties. So it's always going to be a subjective decision. Is this contact enough to bring him down? Is he going down to whatever? There's not a line. With offside, there's going to be, at some point, technology will get to the point where that could be automatic. It's like, because the offside thing is black and white. If you're even, you're good. If you're not, you're offside. They are doing that. And they're doing that. So we're gonna, and that's gonna get perhaps somewhat automated in the World Cup. We're gonna see how that goes. So that could be a black and white kind of a decision. But other stuff, there's always subjectivity. What is a foul? What is a penalty? A penalty, a foul should be a foul anywhere on the field, but that's never the case. You have a much higher threshold in the penalty because the punishment is so high. Like a whatever 10% chance turns into a 75% chance when you get a penalty call. So there is a much higher threshold for the referee. That's always going to be the case, and it's always going to be subjective. You're never going to eliminate subjectivity from that. And that's one. And two is people always going to be mad. Like it doesn't matter. Like you're always gonna be upset if it goes against you. You want it to not be true, and so. I mean, we saw this yesterday. Again, jumping ahead a little, we saw this yesterday with the first.
Well, I think we're good, right? LAFC Austin, LAFC dominate, LAFC hosting the final. I will be there. Stefan Schnitzel got tickets. I bought it through the Philadelphia fan group. I got it through there, so I'm going to be wearing Philly colors and hang out with my Philly boys and drinking beers with the Philly boys, even though I live in LA.
What the fuck? Have you no principles? It
was less than half the price of the LA tickets. Less than half. LAFC tickets were $600. Isn't that crazy? Okay. Would you pay $600 for a soccer game?
If it was my team, it was the MLS Cup, I would probably.
Actually. Yeah, but I'm a neutral. But this is what they did. This is what they did. Real quick.
$600. $600 is a lot.
It's fucking excessive. It's a lot. Anyway. This is what they did. MLS Cup, they did the ticketing, and all the LAFC season ticket holders, no matter who they were, including the ones from next year, by the way, ones who didn't have seats this year, all got pre-sale dibs on 4 seats each, no matter how many seats they had, whether it was 1 or 2.
Wow.
I know. Isn't that nuts?
How do they even do that? Do they not have that many? How many season ticket holders do they have?
Like I said, they must have oversold the shit out of stadium. But the reason I bring it up is because
that's wild.
When the pre-sale was done, it's gray market, baby. It's just people trying to make a buck. They're just trying to break even with the season tickets. So everyone has 4 seats. They're selling them at $600 a pop. That's LAFC for you. So I'm just like, well, screw these. They've been trying to do this all playoffs. These fans have been using their seats to make money. And it's like, just buy the ticket face value. Watch the game and let other fans buy the tickets face value to watch the game. Not everything has to be a freaking business. Well, anyway,
welcome to America. But
welcome to but the LAFC could do better.
so then instead you decided to take a spot away from a diehard, lifelong Philly fan for their first MLS Cup experience.
No. I went on the Philly boards. I like Philly. I really appreciate Philly because Philly does things right. Philly is what the New York Red Bulls are supposed to be.
Ooh.
Yes, they are.
Not today.
Philly,
Don't tell me today about how Philly's doing everything right. Next week.
We'll talk. All I'm trying to bring up is that I'm not like, I appreciate Philly. I'm from Philly, 6 Degrees of Stefan Schnitzel. I lived there as a kid. I'm a big Phillies fan, big 76ers fan. I have a connection to Philly. It's also the team the Germans are on. Don't bet against Germans. If a sporting club with a German sport director and a Kai Wagner, Leon Flach is playing, don't bet against them. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, I emailed them like, hey, season ticket holders, I know you like it's gonna be a small fan group, and one of you buy me. How does this work? And someone sent me to a link to some third-party service that organizes all the Philly fan trips, and they had a great package with a tailgate and ticket package. I bought that, and I'm going to take the night off work. I'm going to tailgate with food and booze with a bunch of fans in the morning at 9 a.m. because the game's at noon, and I'm going to go and I'm going to watch the game, I think, from the Philly supporter section. Now, what's funny, or not funny, but what's crazy about this game is, the LAFC Stadium is right next to the LA Memorial Coliseum.
Uh-huh.
And the LA Memorial Coliseum that day is hosting the big mega USC homecoming game. USC football.
Wow.
It's going to be 100,000 fans that day.
Oh, so
MLS Cup is happening. Yeah, there's no parking for any soccer fans that day. And parking is crazy already without the restrictions. So not only do I have a ticket to that, I'm going to have to take the bus there or something. So in typical MLS fashion, they probably should have moved it a day. I don't know why they were adamant on keeping it on that Saturday. We should move it up to Sunday or something.
Broadcast, man. That's the
true, but USC broadcast wins. The better broadcast is 30 feet to the left. So just change it to a different day. I don't know. So it's going to lead to some logistical nightmares because there's going to be a lot of people you've been there. It's like a city block with 2 or 3 stadiums there, and it's just going to be packed of USC.
What time
kids.
is the USC thing?
It's at 7:30 that night, so it's later. That's why it's so early.
It'll be.
But there'll be tailgating all day. All parking lots are given to them. So anyway, with all that being said, I was able to get my hands on a package. Still a little rich for my blood, but when am I ever going to get a chance to go to MLS Cup? It's in my town. I don't have to fly. I don't need hotels. There's a tailgate with food. I'm going to try to load up on as much food as I can. And we'll see what kind of ticket this is.
Get your
I'm going to support with my Philly brethren, and I'm going to cheer, and I'm going to have a good time at MLS Cup. All right. So now we did that. We did my ticketing rant. For crying out loud, like LAFC is doing this thing where all their season ticket holders that are no-shows, they're taking their season tickets away from them. And I like that. Because clearly they're just people who buy it and try to resell it off the gray market. And they really just want to give the tickets to the fans who want to come, and that's what they need to be doing. And I support that. So they need to do measures against that. In an MLS Cup final like this, I feel fans should just be given the seats they had, right? They took all their seats away and gave them 4. It was very weird how they did that.
Well, they have. I mean, this is also in my supporter, in my season ticket contract that I'm going to get seats for every playoff game except MLS Cup. They have to reshuffle. So probably they're doing that to appease the season ticket holders because they can't have their regular tickets because of press. There's they have to just shuffle people around.
Well, season ticket holders are pissed. They're like, we pay $1 billion for these seats. It's the best game in our life. I want my seat again. I'm like, why don't
Yeah. Well, read the small print. That's what they told you when you signed up. Anyway, we had earlier the last LAFC thing we had earlier. We're hearing from Michael, who waves the German flag in the LAFC section, and he was explaining because I was wondering this. I was looking at why is somebody with German flag? There's no German players on the team, right? As far as I'm aware.
There should be.
There should be. And he's saying he fell in love. He fell in love with LAFC when he attended the Dortmund game. He's been a Bayern fan.
Dortmund LAFC.
He's been a Bayern fan. He was born in Germany, but he moved here when he was very young, and he It represents his German pride, similar to gay pride. He says, El Salvador Mexican. It's true. A lot of people from other countries, they wear their shirts, they bring their flags, they represent their countries in the soccer stadium, regardless of whether or not the particular team really even represents that. And so he likes to do that with the German flag. He says it's German pride. He's not a nationalist. I just think that's interesting because we are so, as Germans, or I don't know what you grew up here. You may have a different sensibility. For me, it's like I take notice when this happens. It's like,
Right.
Oh, is this okay for us to do? We have this sort of fractured sense of national pride, and so it catches my eye. I'm like, oh, there's somebody waving a German flag for no apparent reason. What is happening? But good for him. I was happy to hear from him, and it was nice for him to explain himself.
As an American with American mentality, I have the total opposite mentality. I kind of had to learn that the hard way. Not the hard way, but I'm German by background, but I grew up internationally. I grew up here in the States. I had a handful of German friends growing up, but not too many. I grew up pretty American. And, America is a patriotism. July 4th, red, white, and blue, baby. It's pride for your country.
Yeah. The flag is everywhere.
Flag's everywhere.
That is not the case in Germany in general.
Germany's the opposite, and I'm here to
yeah.
tell Germans. I'm here to tell Germans, the new generation, show a little pride in your country, man. It's okay. You're allowed to be happy of who you are. You do good things, all right? People make mistakes. Everyone's made mistakes. America's made mistakes. I don't like the idea that it's amazing that Germany's won a World Cup with how little they celebrate themselves. But it's fine. Wave a flag. I support it. I support the flag. Michael is an honorary Schnitzel boy in my arms. In my eyes.
In your arms.
I come on those strong sometimes.
I know, very much so. I don't know. It doesn't always work, but when it works, it really works.
He wants to sneak me to 32-52. So I have a choice. Do I want to be in the LAFC 32-52, or am I going to stick with my original?
I think you've already I'm uncomfortable with your flexibility as to who you support. Is it the Red Bulls? Is it the LAFC, Philly, whatever? Oh, they got the cheaper package. I'll support Mussolini. It's no problem. Is there free food?
Come on, I've got a lie. The rule. This is it. I'm a New York Red Bulls fan who loves MLS, who lives in LA, who wants to get my hands the most reasonable access to MLS Cup final in my backyard, and that's what I did. Okay, I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to root for the Philly fans, but I'm a neutral. It's a win-win for me. If LAFC wins, yay, my hometown team wins. If Philly wins, good on them. I have a lot of respect for how they operate. There you go.
I guess since you've lived everywhere, you can support anyone.
I lived in Philly for 6 years. I lived in LA for 2 years.
Yeah.
There you go. But the other thing is, as a German American, who loves European things, LAFC and Philly Union, which club do I identify with more, do you think? Philly Union, right? Kai Wagner. They got Leon Flach. They've got our neighbors like Daniel Gazdag, and Hungarians are not too far off. They're part of the German culture. Ernst Tanner, who's the sport director from Red Bull, doing his thing. None of that's going to LAFC. We got Steve Cherundolo, sure.
I guess this sort of implies that that how you're choosing your team is sort of a rational. I think it's
as opposed to what, location based?
No, well, location or just an emotional thing. I don't know,
It's based on location. Are you an NYCFC fan because you were in Boston and you chose NYCFC?
No, but location is important, but it's also then it becomes just an emotional thing. I couldn't tell you. There's no German. I mean, there's Alfredo Morales, who I guess who qualifies as German, but. It's not like, oh, there's somebody else. I don't like Liverpool's Jurgen Klopp as the coach, or.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Well, I lean. I'm pretty neutral. Let's just say it this way: I'm pretty neutral in general. I like when Jurgen Klopp wins. I like when Liverpool wins. I root for Jurgen Klopp. I root for Timo Werner. I root for Americans and Germans all the way. I don't know. I always root, but I'm a New York Red Bulls fan. That's really not going to change. There's been a lot. They just hired a new player scout. They just did a press release about getting a new number 9 for the new year.
Yeah, they had sort of a weird. If we want to talk about the Red Bulls, they had sort of a weird press conference, right?
Sure.
Their Sportdirektor had like an end of season thing, and it was a little odd.
Yeah, he had to explain how Germans behaved. Because, people are like, hey, Gerhard Struber said this. And he's like, listen, Europeans talk this way. Here in the United States, people are more positive and more guarded. You have to explain the difference between how Europeans talked and how Americans talked. And it just, as a German American like me, it makes me laugh my ass off. Because it's like, I already knew that. I love how Struber talks. I love how Schneider talks. Now we have Sebastian Drausel, our new player scout, right from Germany, right off the boat. It's fun. Mateschitz is dead. The future of Red Bull is still kind of uncertain. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. But Jochen Schneider did admit that they need to fix their number 9. It's like, we need to fix their attacking thing. That's awesome. So he mentioned that. But what does that mean? Does that mean signing some second division player? Does that mean signing Luis Suarez? Does that mean signing Joseph Martinez? Does that mean signing a hot South American? What does that mean? We'll see what solving number 9 means this offseason. So we'll take a look. But anyway, we're dilly-dallying here, man. We're dilly-dallying and dilly-dallying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think
Tell me, you drove to Philly.
We've lost momentum. We've lost momentum.
All I'm going to say, well, the game was crazy. The game was crazy because it was kind of like, 60 minutes, the back and forth, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, or it was mainly Philly, right? NYCFC didn't have much to offer in the first half. And all of a sudden, Maxi Morales opened up.
It's pretty even. I thought it was
not even close to being even. It was not even close to being even in the first half. NYCFC had not even close to a chance, and Philly almost scored like 3 times. Unless you watched a different. What game am I watching? What am I talking about? Maybe I'm talking about. What were the opportunities in the first half?
I thought the first half was pretty nervy. There weren't a lot of chances on either end, but I thought it was pretty even. We had more possession, and they scored an offside goal that was offside, and that was.
Okay. It was 50-50. Let's just say it was pretty 50-50. Granted,
I thought it was pretty even. I didn't think what opportunities did Philly have?
Well, I mean, opportunities. I don't tell you. Well, who was the busier goalkeeper, Sean Johnson or Andre Blake in the first half? Sean John had more work to do. Doesn't matter. Well, second half,
right. So
NYCFC.
You tell me how it went then.
Second half, NYCFC blew open. Maxi Morales scored the goal, and that blew the lid off the game. And before I know it, NYCFC is now in charge all of a sudden. Now they're doing the thing. Andre Blake with a superhuman save, denying it, keeping it 1-0 on a Gordon Banks style save of the season. I mean, you got to see that replay of Andre Blake diving on the bottom right, superhuman save, and telling his players to calm down. There's still 30 minutes left, play the game. And then they got 2 goals. Two very crazy. The first goal was, it was a Philadelphia.
Well, it was a sub. We subbed. We subbed Keaton Parks in.
But it was Philly ball.
Philly had a free kick. We subbed in Keaton Parks.
And he dilly-dallied.
For Gabby Pereira, and they were figuring out their defensive assignments, and then Philly took it quickly, and everybody fell asleep.
Here, let me reenact it for you. Keaton Parks running on the field. La 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 la. Where am I? Where am I? Over there? I'm over there. And I was like, I don't know. Over there, maybe? Who knows? It's not like it's a conference final or anything. So he's jogging around, wondering where he's going. And Philly's got the ball. And look at the ref. Like, we can go, right? Why are we waiting? He's been on the field for 10 minutes already. He still hasn't made it to his position yet. And they're like, yeah, whistle, go. And then so he puts it forward to Julian Castrazo. What's his name? And the Carranza. And he comes in. There's a big hole back there because Keaton Park's still making his way over there. And they just get you right there on a free kick, kind of catch you kind of by surprise. But the reality is you need to put a little more pep in your step because it is a conference final. You do need to run to your position a little quicker. And that was the equalizer. You don't see that often. You don't. Essentially, he caught you by surprise on a free kick, and then 2 minutes later, they got you on a counterattack, where Justin Hack was just watching the game like an audience member, like a supporter. He was like, "Hey, it's a cool soccer game going on. It's a cool soccer game. Dude, that guy's a good player right over there. He's just scoring right in front of his face." And it's like, "Hey, Justin Hack, do you think maybe you should have covered him or run to the ball, maybe, and Sean John, should you have maybe charged him a little more? I don't know. They just had all the time in the world to just pick their spot and score the go-ahead goal. Am I right or am I wrong?"
Yeah, pretty much.
How defeated are you? How much do you hate me right now? How much do you hate me right now? Am I accurate?
I'm glad we're getting the Philadelphia Union perspective of the game. Please keep
I'm
at it,
too, baby. I'm watching some Sons of Ben.
Newly minted. I'm watching the birth of a Philadelphia Union fanatic right here on the show, emerging live in front of us. Please don't let me interrupt.
In all honesty, this is my point of view as a neutral. I mean, this is what I saw. And then Philly got their third, and that was sort of the end of it. I think I texted you at that moment. There's still like 15 minutes left, but it was 3-1. I think the game was over at that point. And NYCFC almost pulled one back, but 3-1 game and Philly won. But what I will say is NYCFC was a little sleepy there for a few minutes, so they let the game go, and there was some brain farting. I think on Reddit someone called it like a 5-minute brain fart, and I was like, yeah, I like that. I mean, I don't know. Now tell me from your perspective. I don't disagree with you. I think there was I had a different take on the first half for sure. I don't remember Philly having a lot of opportunity. I mean, I'm not saying we dominated, but I thought it was pretty nervy, very tense. And but I thought we hung in. I thought they didn't generate a whole lot. I don't remember Sean Johnson. I mean, there was that offside goal, obviously, where the place went wild, but he was very clearly offside, and it was immediately called back, and no. I mean, this is an example actually for what you were talking about before, because it's like it's an offside call. The guy raises the flag. They check on VAR. It's completely crystal clear. No, and then the stadium erupts and fuck the ref. It's like people will be mad. Yeah, and then in the second half, I thought we came out very strong, and it had that sort of sense of, we are getting control of this game. We were combining very well, and then the goal was beautiful. It's like in every playoff game, we've had one of those where these sort of team goals, where there's a bunch of good passing, and then laid it off to Maxi Morales, who was just a hero. In the playoffs, he scored many goals, even though he has traditionally not really been a scorer. Anyway, so then the celebration was very intense, and a little bit, I felt weird about that. I was like, this is a little too much. Like, and it did feel like, we think this is it, and I think the team has been very good in the second half. They've been very good defensively. And I think there was maybe a little, I don't know if it was overconfidence or a lack of focus or a loss of concentration. That goal came out of nowhere. At that point, we had that Andre Blake save. We had a couple more chances, and it looked like we're now in charge. And and it was exactly like you described. There was that substitution. They're figuring out who's covering who, and completely spaced out. Collins, who's had a great season for us, right, loses his man. Carranza, who people kept saying, Carranza. It's like I've watched him in a couple of games, and even on Sunday, I did not think he was all that. He did have, I guess he had that one shot in the first half that Sean Johnson had to save, actually. But I thought he was not very good against Cincy. Anyway, scores the goal, and then, second goal, exactly how you described Justin Hack as watching ball. That was the thing that I thought was really interesting and sort of gutsy. Coach Nick Cushing went on his own sort of full misdirection
mission this week. He gave an interview with Glenn Crooks and said, "Oh, Maxime Chenard, so that means we'll have to go back to the 4-2-3-1. Keaton Parks is going to start. Malte Amundsen is going to play at left back." He said all these things, and then that's not what happened. He played the same formation that he did the second half against Montreal with Justin Hack at center back, and Justin Hack actually was playing sort of a sweeper even.
Right.
He was further back than everybody than everybody else, and his assignment was to guard against balls over the top. They did not want to get caught out with balls over the top, with people running past their line, and so he was back there, and I thought it worked pretty well for the first half. I thought he played well.
Right.
But yeah, after the equalizer,
traditionally he's a defensive mid, right? He's not a center.
He's
back.
a midfielder, not even.
Right.
I mean, he's kind of moved further back as his career has progressed. I think he was definitely an 8 or even a 10 when he initially, in his academy career, and then he became. I think he was more of an 8. Then he became a 6. And now he's a center back. Now he's a third center back. And
what I will say though, when you guys look back on this game next year and when you look at old games, it boils down to things, moves, moments. I think this game will boil down to the Justin Hack experiment failing, right?
I don't think so, because he was not the equal. I think that it turns on the equalizer. I mean, I think the sequence where the game turns is the Andrew Blake save, and then the substitution barred equalizer. I think that's where things went wrong. If we go up to 0, this is done. If we won't give up that easy goal, who knows what's going to happen? And then
on Reddit, people were criticizing Cushing for doing a sub on a set
piece. Yeah, people say.
I think it's a little unfair, right? I mean, I don't know. That happens. I see it all the time. So.
Well, no, people say you don't make subs on a corner kick. I mean, there is, and definitely they were just. I mean, it's not his fault that they were so slow to adjust, and of course, credit to Philly to think quickly and take advantage. So it's not like, it's not like I'm gonna troll Philly Twitter for a year now saying that we got robbed or anything. I mean, they won this fair and square, but it's not like it just felt upsetting just because it's not like we really were outplayed over the course of the game. I felt like, especially after the lead, we were definitely felt like we were in control, and then we really just pissed it away. Very sad.
Yeah, because it's just so weird.
And on the second goal, I mean, just to finish the thought, on the second goal, it's hot. Yeah, exactly how you're describing. Hack is ball watching, and the guy.
It happened in like slow motion, right? It was like slow mo. It was such a weird. It was so funny. Both goals were weird. It was like two weird goals.
But two goals really out of nowhere, like out of a pretty set defensive position. We have not given up a lot of those goals this season, and so. Right. So yeah, that's what hurts. It's just kind of if you felt like, oh, they were the better team on the night. I mean, they certainly were the better team over the season. Certainly, they had the home field for a reason, and of course they deserve. They should be excited. I mean, from their perspective, like what a night, and like you're saying,
I love hearing you struggle so much. You're just trying to bite your tongue right now, and you're like, I don't have. They were the dominant team on the night. They were. I know you don't see it as much as I do, but watching from the TV broadcast,
I don't agree. I don't agree with that.
Philly owned that game. It wasn't super dominant. It wasn't like a 5-0. But other than that burst, like you had about 50 minutes the second half.
Like at the 62nd, 63rd minute, you're going to be like, you're thinking like, oh, Philly's coming back.
After when you scored that goal, that made me like, oh, that was surprising because Philly owned the game up until that point. And then at that moment, it's like, hey, maybe NYCFC is going to smash and grab this one. Then 10 minutes later, Philly grabbed it back. And we had
65% possession over the. We had more shots. Philly
Philly makes sure of that. That's part
This
of
is
their game
spoken.
plan.
This is spoken like they made sure that we had more possession.
That's how Philly plays. They're a high
And
press
you
team. They
have
want you to have the ball.
they're all right.
You know
I
that's
mean,
how they play.
you're doing a very good job of being this new Union supporter. I'm excited.
Just a neutral.
I'm excited for you to be neutral.
My point
Yeah,
of view is that you're an
be
NYCFC
neutral.
homer, and I'm just trying to bring it back to ground as a neutral. That's what I'm seeing right now. But what you're seeing is you're seeing me being a Philly homer.
That's right.
All right, well, maybe there's a
I
truth
see you as a person
between.
who's trying to ingratiate themselves with the people that he's going to break bread with on Saturday afternoon.
Hey man, I'm a problem solver. I'm not going to pay $700 to go watch the nosebleeds.
And if I have to support
from over there,
if I have to support a random team, no
I
problem.
don't have to support. I'll be there. I'll be standing there. It's not big. I'll be watching. I'll be all about it. Listen, but that's, I mean, I implore you to watch the full 90 and tell me I'm wrong. Like I was just watching on TV. But with that being said, it boils down to NYCFC having some key injuries, right? Maxime Chanot and Talis Magno. Two players you could have. And Maxi Morales and I think even Haber were kind of doubtful, right? Weren't they playing with a little bit of a knock? He had some injury.
Maxi was doubtful. He played well. I don't think. I mean, yeah, Talis was out. That might have made a difference. But Chanot definitely would have helped. He would not have ball. But I mean, everybody's got injuries. Philly brought back Alejandro Bedoya, who clearly was not ready to play.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make. I don't know. I don't feel. I mean, injuries are what they are. That's fine. We had injuries last year. We had Keaton Parks out. We had Anton Tinnerholm out, who played great again yesterday. So we won MLS Cup with a bunch of injuries. Everybody's got something.
You made the conference final, which apparently is like never happened since like 2001 or something. I don't remember. So overall, you still had a good season. You were MLS Cup winners. You went straight to the Eastern Conference Final again the next year, which is apparently very rare. And you did it by losing your star player and losing your coach. I'd say overall, like Nick Cushing, and the second half of the season could have gone way worse. And it was headed that direction, if you remember. And then you turned it around and you figured it out and you started playing like NYCFC again. And you got yourself to the Eastern Conference Final. So I think, it's still a good season.
Where we were dominated by the Philadelphia Union.
Ultimate domination. Philly they were the home team. They were confident. They were playing their game. Philly was playing their game. They want you to have the ball so they can take it and run at you with it. And that's exactly how they scored their all three goals. So Philly versus LAFC preview, a lot of fun because LAFC is exactly what it is. LAFC wants the ball. They're very patient with the ball. They bring the ball up. And then Philly's going to be sure they have the ball because Philly's going to run at them, try to grab the ball in their defensive third and the LAFC defensive third, turn it on them, get them in the transition. It's gonna be a fun game, I think. LAFC, the team of millionaires, and Philly, the well-crafted team of journeymen and youngsters that they crafted into a pretty cohesive unit. Steve Cherundolo versus Jim Curtin. I think it'll be a fun game. LAFC is going to have possession. I'm sure of it. What they do with it, we'll see. We'll see. Is that Nanette?
Oh yeah, you can hear the cat. Hello.
Is Nanette hungry for MLS Cup?
I haven't seen her all day.
Oh well, she's come by saying hi. Although in reality, I think that's her just being like, "Feed me, food, time for food," as cats are. Anyway, how do you feel about the season? Are you you're going to keep Nick Cushing, right, for the new year? And who do you want in the off season?
We'll find out. Yeah, a lot. There's question marks. It depends. The team is great. I think the team has been solid. We've gotten. We probably needed maybe another midfielder at some point or another number 9. We'll need some refreshments, and we're going to lose some people. I don't know. There's question marks. There's a lot of expiring contracts. Sean Johnson, Alex Collins, Maxi Morales, Anton Tinnerholm. These are all really important players, and they're not all going to come back, I don't think. So,
Well, I think Maxi Morales, I think he's done with, right? He's 35 or whatnot. And
he
then
has the team has an option for
Sean
his,
Johnson
for his
and
contract.
Alexander Collins would be my priority. I'd sign them to new contracts ASAP. Alexander Collins, defender of the year, right? He's one of the best, if not top defenders of the year.
In my opinion, but
Yeah.
the perfect human.
So last but not least, who's winning, LAFC or Philly?
LAFC,
How much?
3-1.
LAFC 3-1? Okay. I mean, so 50-50 to me. LAFC at home, that might be the deciding factor. Might be the LAFC home crowd. I think I see maybe more of a 2-1 LAFC. 2-1, I think. So, yeah. We'll see if Philly can smash and grab this one, or will LAFC continue their destiny and be MLS Cup winners? 1 versus 1. We haven't seen this since 2003. My very first MLS Cup, my favorite MLS Cup. Such an exciting game between the Chicago Fire and the San Jose Earthquakes. A young Landon Donovan versus a young DeMarcus Beasley. It was such a fun game. San Jose winning that game 4-2. High scoring. So much fun. Hopefully this next weekend edition will be the same. Going at each other. Goals. Did I say 2-1? I'm thinking 4-3, baby.
4-3. All right.
7 goals. Let's do it. Cool. You have any thoughts on American soccer? And
that's it.
All right. MLS Cup coming this weekend. Jesse Marsh won against Liverpool, saved his job. Just a quick reference to that.
Yeah,
Weston McKennie's injured. Luca De La Torre is injured.
Matt Turner's a little injured. Yeah.
Let's switch from the best. Get healthy, youngs. Get healthy. Okay, this has been the American half of the Schnitzel Boys. Thank you for Michael, not Mike, 805, for cheering in, waving that German flag, which he will wave this weekend. If you see that German flag on the TV,
it's Michael. It's Michael. Honorary Schnitzel boy, apparently.
Honorary Schnitzel. Maybe. We'll see. All right. Tell your friends and family, like and subscribe. Bye-bye. Till next week.